Good morning. It is Monday, June 12th. Gets us 90 days out from September 10th. Well into the fall. Well, not technically, but we're on the other side of Labor Day. Short people are back to school. Tall people are back to school. 90 days out from September 10th, the DTD2 for this week. And this is a thing that we talk about quite frequently. It's just inside your morning news, and it's there to remind us to stay out of call bias. What is call bias? Call bias is when you think you're going to make calls today, you trust you're going to make calls today, you can't wait to make calls today, and you grab your phone and you randomly start to cherry pick the people that you're going to talk to, either because you know they won't pick up, or you know it'll be an easy conversation because you can talk about anything but get to the point and ask for their opportunity to serve them or somebody they know and love and trust. So there's a class from MAPS Coaching that Steve Schluter put together. Got to say his name carefully on a Monday morning because you might end up not saying his name. So Steve Schluter put together a great class. It's called Never Ending Referrals, and the tool that they built for that class is called the DTD2. It stands for Do the Database 2. Are you talking to these two people this week? And then there's another initial to make sure that you can text those individuals. So you're calling last name T's, last name J's, and you are texting your K's. So that's the DTD2, and that lasts for the week. They have 13 weeks for the entire quarter, times 2 letters, 26 in the alphabet. Last time we checked, unless they're changing that, they probably are. So that's what that tool is. That's right under the 90-day date to remind you of who you could be speaking with. And again, the 90 days out is always important to stay focused on. One of the things that we talk about when you sit with Zoe and myself and we're looking at your pipeline is if you have anything that is under contract, if there's multiple things under contract, a great question to ask yourself is, when does the last one close? Because let's just say you have like 3 things under contract and the last one closes next Friday. That would be the carry the 4 divide by 3 17th, like the 24th or whatever. And if that were the case on the 24th, whatever that gap is between the 90 days out is going to be a void where the checks aren't coming in. So we want to be hyper aware of that. And then conversely, if there's nothing going on this week, let's look back into our Google calendar, which is French for what the hell were you doing, and find out what you were or were not doing. Because that will give you some clarity on the activities that bring you the most success. Without fail, when we've got stuff going on, we just need to look back to what caused that. And it's usually not rocket science. It's usually consistency. It's usually head down, heart up. It's usually service first, sales second. So in that spirit, today we're getting into the week where we're going to have Quantum Leap tomorrow. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. This morning at 11 o'clock, if you're an emerging capper, you've got some deals under your belt, you haven't yet capped, please join me for the conversation we're going to have at 11 o'clock. That's at KellerTV.com, getting together with the emerging cappers. If you're in that group, you would have got a text at 8 o'clock from me saying, come and join me and let's have that conversation. So I look forward to seeing you guys then. At 12 o'clock, there is the Couch to 10K. If you're in Couch to 10K, now you're thinking, well, it's June and it's going to be over at the end of the month. The simplicity of this is if you haven't yet leaned into Couch to 10K, there's still an opportunity to continue to or begin to work on building your database. That meeting at 12 o'clock, you can click the link and join. And then if you haven't yet, and if you don't know or you don't have a great tool for really managing your pipeline, that's why we've built in this connectivity to Sisu. That tool allows Zoe and myself to look into your pipeline and have that conversation with you to see, hey, what is the causation of your greatness right now? Or if we're dipping in our business right now, if we're in a lull, we can look back and see what wasn't happening. But we can have active pipeline conversations, and it's good for us to know our numbers. Because when we are asking what your vital signs are, those numbers in your pipeline, one of the things we always ask is if you do have stuff under contract, when does the last one close? We always want to know what that gap is between your last payday and what 90 days out would be, because it's important for everyone to know. Then at 1 o'clock, always a great opportunity every week to get in touch with your brokers. Your brokers are doing Ask the Broker, and that is at 1 o'clock on Keller TV. So tomorrow, it is Quantum Leap. If you've never, and again, depending on where you fall in the life of our company, people of a certain age, if you have enough gray hair, you might remember that Quantum Leap was a show back in the 80s with Scott Bakula. It's also Gary's class where he really talks about the whole self, your whole life, where real estate is clearly a part of the conversation we're going to have tomorrow. And it's important to understand that we will be talking about productivity. We are going to focus a bunch. I would argue, for the most part, to me, you've heard me call Quantum Leap Gary's love letter to real estate. So we're going to spend all day tomorrow here in Portsmouth. Please join us. The link is all over the place. If you see Quantum Leap, just register. It's a full day. And this class can be 2 days. We are going to do it in a day. We will be extracting some of the exercises, but there's going to be room for conversation. Looking forward to having you in the room. If you've never attended Quantum Leap, here's your chance to do it locally amongst your peers here at 463. So I'd love to see you for that. If you ever get a chance, if tomorrow's not the day for you, and unless you're booked, I would argue tomorrow is the day for you. So please click that link and get yourself registered. Above and beyond that, if you can't make it tomorrow, the next time you see Quantum Leap pop up regionally with anybody, or I would argue probably one of the best teachers that we have at our entire company. His name is Gene Rivers. He is from Florida. He's got a great twang. He is the one that has perfected the line, "Shut up and do it, stupid." That's Gene Rivers. If you ever hear me say that, that's Gene Rivers. He's one of the greatest. I'm sure he'll be floating around at some point teaching it. We try to deliver this at the very least once a year around this time of year. So I look forward to seeing you in the classroom tomorrow here in Portsmouth for Quantum Leap. So we talked about, I read to you Gary's sonnet that we start the class with tomorrow. We discussed that last week. I want to talk to you today about some of the questions that we'll ask. And this is as we get started tomorrow. Some questions to consider. Which, depending on who you are and how you feel about where you are and what challenges you might be going through right now, all might hit differently. But let's go through some of these. So this is where we're talking about building a life with great purpose. So ask yourself these questions. And these are in the packet. So when you join the class, you will get the opportunity to grab that PDF and upload it to your Remarkable or put it on your computer. Or for those of you that want to print it up because you like scribbling in the notes, I appreciate that. You will have access to this PDF. So you will have these questions in front of you. But if you've got a sharp crayon and you want to write these down, or you just want to sit quietly and close your eyes and ponder these questions, here we go. Building a life with great purpose. First question, are you an intentional individual or are you just an accidental tourist? So we always talk about intention, right? And getting away from the word try and not using the word hope when we talk about our business, right? Hope is not a business strategy. It's a tenet of faith is what I would say, right? Hope is not a plan. Hope is what takes place after it's left our hands, after we've relinquish control. I won't say lost control, relinquish control. So are you an intentional individual or just an accidental tourist? And these are questions about your life. Are you a determined determiner or just a drifting drifter? Are you making the decisions? Are you taking control? And we talk about this with everybody talking about work-life balance, which we'll talk more tomorrow. We've said that that's not a thing. It is work-life counterbalance. We're making decisions every day. You will make decisions today that are either more important about your business or your family. Something will win today. Are you a meaningful specific or just a wandering generality? So are you clear? Are you purposeful? Are you making a life? This is a good one. Are you making a life or just making a living? Are you making a life or just making a living? Now, this is really important, this one. And think about this, because most of us came into this industry to control our calendar and to control our accounts, right? We want to control our time and our money. Are you following your own plan or are you just part of somebody else's? Are you following your own plan or are you just part of somebody else's? Obviously, there's a musical touch here. So we're talking about Sinatra in Kansas, by the way. Is this song in your head, is the song in your head My Way, or is it Dust in the Wind? Is the song in your head My Way, or is it Dust in the Wind? Are you left to your devices? Are you making your decisions? Or is it wherever the wind takes you today? And this is when we have our list of things to do that we always talk about. You've got 11 or 12 things on your to-do list today. Have you gone through and said, this I need to do. This is important to me and my family. This is important to my business's greatness. These are the things I'm required to do. My face has to be present. These are things I could delegate, and the stuff at the bottom, and it could be throughout, but these 3 or 4 things, I'm dumping these. I'm not touching these. Nobody I care about is touching these. My business isn't touching these. Right? Because we're all, everyone admits, well, I'm a yes man or I'm a yes woman. And saying yes, right? This is about work-life counterbalance. What are we saying yes to? Steve Jobs, when he returned to Apple, he was most proud of the things he said no to. Are you using your time to make your mark, or are you just marking your time? Are you using your time to make your mark, or are you just marking your time? Are you punching in, punching out? I joked last week about the sign over the clock in my high school calculus class, which I, as you can imagine, detested. My calculus teacher had a sign over the clock in the room because if you want to get the hell out of there, what are you constantly doing? You're looking up at the clock. Is it over? Is it over? Is it over? And they had a sign over the clock that said, time is passing, or you, right? Gut punch. I love calculus, by the way, in case you're wondering. It'll be on the quiz later. Are you making time count, or are you just counting time? That speaks right to that. Do you have your head down, hard up? And this is so important for any one of us, but without fail, this is important for our agents that are dual career agents. Because our dual career agents, anyone with limited time to do the KW things, always says, well, what's possible for me to do? What's realistic for me to do? And you could argue this is even true with anybody who's in real estate just in general. Like, how are you spending your mornings? What are we doing in that intentional part of the day? When at least we here at KWCLM preach that before noon, head down, hard up. Service first, sales second. Are you having conversations? Are you asking for the opportunity to serve? Are you finding out from your people that you know and love and trust, who they know and love and trust that you don't know yet? Is the theme of your life no time to kill, or is it just killing time? Is the theme of your life no time to kill, or is it just killing time? And are you living a life of purpose, or are you just living? Are you living a life of purpose, or are you just living? Talking to somebody over the weekend who used to be at our company, stepped away, and they're following their passion right now. And they were sharing with me about their accomplishments in this new arena that they're in. Clearly so happy with what they're doing. And they were grateful that we had remained friends. And they were talking about it, and they said, they were referencing the fact that they felt like they let me down because they didn't stay in real estate, which was so ridiculous to me. When I heard it, I didn't say that to them. But it's so clear that they're in their passion now. And for so many of us, you left whatever you were doing before to come do this thing. Because we get to have a direct effect on the people that we come in touch with. If you left a massive corporation where they were making widgets and you were just a cog in the machine, And there's no judgment there, but if that's how you felt and that didn't make you feel great and you left that environment to come make your own environment and you're just marking time and you don't feel you're living a life of purpose and you feel like the days and the months are just getting away from you, and tomorrow we'll be in Quantum Leap talking about these questions that we just went through. And in a couple of weeks, on the 29th, we'll be doing business planning clinic for the halftime. Because when we get back from that, June 29th, Thursday, June 29th, in Portsmouth, we'll be doing the halftime business planning clinic. And the reason we started to do that, and we just started last year, Zoe and I knew there was sort of a void. It's like we do this in the fall, and then we're left to our own devices for the whole entire year. So why not stop down at halftime, the 15th protocol of the year, and say, where do we stand? What was our goal, right? The GROW model. What was our goal? What are our current results? What are the obstacles and opportunities in front of us? And what is the way forward? How do we change things? Because when we get back from the other side of that holiday weekend, that's going to be the Thursday before the 4th of July. On the other side of that, we're into July. July 1st is October 1st. That's why we do business planning clinic, and we start in September. And if you can get into that first business planning clinic in September, I don't know what the date is yet, you're leaving the room that day with your plan that you can start to be actionable by October 1st for January 1st results. If you've been on James Shaw at the end of the year, and he's right in our morning news every day, please click that link and join him. Phenomenal way to start your morning. James Shaw at 8 o'clock for the last 3 years reminds us that in the fourth quarter, when you walk into the office on January 1st, that first business day of the year, 15% of your goal should be pending at that point for you to be tracking. We don't restart in January. It's a continuation of the fall. The more we start to look at January like the 13th month of the year, and we stop seeing an end to something and a beginning of something, and I'm not against a fresh start, but let's start celebrating yet ignoring the speed bump of our capping date, that financial date that rolls by and you refresh and you have your company dollar to pay again. Zoe and I have so many conversations, and people are like, oh my God, I've got 4 deals, but 3 of them aren't going to close until after I roll. I appreciate you're not going to get 100%, but it's wood for next year's fire. So if you have the opportunity to join us for Quantum Leap tomorrow, please click that link, get in the room. Let's have this conversation about everything we're going to discuss. We're going to spend a ton of time on mastery and self-mastery. And more importantly, that whole thing between the stages of our life, whether we're learning, earning, or playing. And that doesn't have to be education and then employment and then retirement. That can happen every day. We can schedule that every day. A lot of you do schedule that every day. Most of us struggle making sure that happens on a regular basis. And Monday through Friday, we just eat it, right? Head down, grinding. And then we get to Friday at 5 o'clock and we're like, okay. And I know for those of us that are selling real estate over the weekend, it doesn't necessarily feel that way. But most of corporate America, then it's the weekend. And do we make the most of it? And why do we reduce it to those 48 or 68 hours? If we simply planned to make sure our calendar reflected the life we want to lead. So Quantum Leap, here's the whole booklet, your PDF, if you've signed up for class, will be available to you. I would recommend, I'm gonna have this in the classroom with me tomorrow. If you're taking it as a student, I would upload it to your Remarkable or your iPad, and you can make notes right on the screen. Probably a great idea. Tomorrow from 9 to 5, we will have lunch brought to you by our friends at Movement Mortgage. One of the best classes we have in our company. Quantum Leap. If I can help you guys with anything, look forward to seeing you tomorrow in the classroom. Please let me know. It is 603-834-2856. If you're looking to book my face, if you haven't been in coaching, if you've never engaged with coaching, then you're gonna start fresh, right? But reach out and let me know. It's meetwithcoach.com. We'll see you in and around the Market Center, and I'll certainly see you tomorrow here in Portsmouth for Quantum Leap. Have a phenomenal day.